Hi friends and welcome. Going to paint, as you can see, this sweet little picture today. Our series called Things on Strings. Well, that's what we're doing again today. I wanted to do this 6x6. I already see something that's bothered me. I want to be able to see that string. I wanted to do the 6x6 canvas, so I looked around for something that I felt was would fit that, kind of chunky and would fit that square format. So I thought this did pretty well, and this time instead of having the white behind it, as you can see, I put green. A couple reasons. I noticed when I put my object on the white board that the shadow comes out. It's really cool looking with that white board. And I toned in the orange, as you see, on purpose. I'm hoping a lot of that will peek through this kind of blue-green color. Thought that would be nice, that warmth. What else can I say about it? So I have a bit of a different angle. I can see a little more from where I'm standing into the top of the little picture, which I think improves it. I've got to be able to see both things, so I've got you a little off to the left this time. Let me show you my view though. See how I can see down into the picture neck a little bit more. But I've got to move you a little bit so I can see it. I mean, I could try to move everything over a bit. And then move you over a bit. It's about the same, isn't it? Actually about the same. So let's put you back. Again, I want to be able to see inside the neck some. I want to be able to see my string, and I put a light on it over here to the side, so we've got a shadow. So as far as lining it up directly here, I might have to move it up a little bit. I am going to use my view catcher, and I opened it wide open, which gives me a square format to look through. So we'll be looking at that to set things up. Thinking of probably, we'll pretty much fill the canvas, I'm thinking. Well, the day before, I painted outside. It was like 75 degrees. Today, it's in the 30s for a high. It changed so much, like 40 degrees in 2 days. It rained yesterday, and actually it snowed today too. So we have a snow, not a lot, but on the grass and the bushes. That's Ohio. It changes just so quick. All right, I'm going to look through this with my eye and try to set up this format. Kind of make some marks. The picture's going to be pretty high on the canvas. And I'm standing. I like the shadow, so I do want to get some of the shadow in. I painted up in town a couple days in a row. I said we'll have that string coming down. Part of the reason I thought I'd do the 6x6 is I've got a show in a couple weeks, and I do have a frame. If this comes out, we never know about that, but I have been busy getting ready for the show the first weekend of December, and I'm going to do a show January and February. I mentioned I'll be hanging in the Middletown Arts Center, so had to work on an inventory sheet and figuring out what I'm taking and all kinds of stuff. So life is good. I'm busy. Went out today, met my daughter. She had a birthday last weekend, so she was kind of sick, so we put it off, and we met her today, her and her husband and son, and had lunch today. So it's really nice to see them. I don't know if I mentioned it to you, but years ago I took a workshop from Sarah Sedgwick, who's a very, very good artist. You can Google her and look at her work. Sedwick, I think it is, Sedgwick. does a lot of still lifes. Anyway, she recently, Eric Rhodes does Plein Air magazine, and he comes on Facebook every day. I think he's doing it still, and he has a new artist that demos, and she recently was on. So if you go to YouTube and just search by her name, you can find that video that they did, and she kind of talks about her process and painting loose, and she pre-mixes color. Anyway, it's good, and I agree with a lot of her philosophy on how she works. And I was thinking about her as I was sketching. You know, she uses a lot of straight lines, because when you're doing this, you're not looking at your object. So if you just do sections at a time, you go back and forth and look and look and look. I agree with that, you know. This is this little antique I bought years ago. And I'm trying to do kind of a value sketch too. They, at the Middletown Arts Center, they offered to have an opening for me, but my show's going to hang from the beginning of January, like January 4th or 5th through most of February. And I said no, because right after the holidays, I just don't think that's a great time, and I don't think it would be very well attended. But what I was thinking I might talk to him about is maybe on one of those Saturdays doing a demo. What do you think of that idea? I enjoy demos a lot myself. I get a lot out of them, and you know, who's to say how well that would be attended either, but you know, what's the big deal if it's not? I've went to them where sometimes I'm the only one there. Let's look what our shadow does here. It comes kind of up, and I can see the shadow of the string too. She had taken a photo of her still life setup, and she sketched from a photo. But I know she works from life a lot, because like I said, I've done workshops with her. That's my favorite thing, you know, to work from life. But I can understand why people photograph even still life setups and paint them from a photo, because nothing's moving on you. You know, every little step I take forward and backward changes things, and I mean, I get it. See where the shadow comes in, about there. Again, I want to try to do kind of a value sketch before we start. And we're working in water mixable oils, mostly a limited palette. Warm and cool of each primary, and transparent red oxide I like, and Indian yellow. But today I did throw some phthalo blue on here. Beautiful color, powerful color, but probably will use that in my mixture for my picture, I'm thinking. Part of that shadow is there, comes up here. And yes, I could have just sat this down and put a light on it, but I don't know, it's different. Again, you are not seeing it from where I'm seeing it. I can see inside here, which makes it so much more interesting. All right, clean out this little brush, even though we may go back to it. I've been watching every Friday, I have mentioned this before, Craig Nelson, who is a good artist out of California. I own some of his DVDs. He comes on live every Friday on Facebook, and he paints a painting in an hour and a half, sometimes fairly large paintings. You should go follow him if you don't. He's very good. He's known for doing quick studies. I have a couple of his DVDs where he does quick studies, but let me show you the brush that he does most of his paintings with. He uses this. They're little 1-inch, he calls them gesso brushes. Like yesterday, he did a gorgeous landscape of pine trees and water, and he just scrubs in all his greens and everything with that thing. I mean, not that he didn't get out a small brush for some things, but you get very realistic trees and stuff with a brush like that. You'd be surprised. So, all right, let's pre-mix some colors now. I am going to put out some of the phthalo blue. I could bring you over. Let's try to bring you over while we play around with some of these mixtures. And bring you down. See how well you can see. So this is my phthalo over there. So I'm going to try to get 3 values. Okay, there's our phthalo. Beautiful, beautiful blue color. But it leans more toward green, so let's throw some yellow in it. And again, I'm going to want to leave some of this. Let's try to get 3 values. Okay, so I want some of it very dark. So now I'm putting some ultramarine in. And I need some crimson out there, don't we? I kind of assumed I wouldn't need it, and I didn't put any out, but better to have it, right? And not need it. Again, first thing I'm trying to do is get something really dark for the darkest part. So see how the crimson darkened it up? We'll go put some ultramarine in. All right, as I'm looking at it up there, you know, you just play with it. You just, you know, mix it up. Then you ask yourself, what is it? Is it too warm, too cool? That's pretty warm. So let's go back to the ultramarine. Okay. And I don't see the shadow being quite that dark. Let's put some of this in. But I'd rather lean toward it being too dark than too light, because once I get white in there, it really changes things. Let's get more of our phthalo out. Put a little yellow in again. Pull it more toward green. It's a beautiful, beautiful color. Okay, I'm looking at it there, deciding. I'm going to mix up a little orange over here to the side. I like throwing that in sometimes to kill the intensity of the color. Okay. Now we're trying for something kind of mid-value. I did put a little orange in there. There's a few little highlights on it, which will be nice. So you never want to get so light that you can't see your highlight. And white is your lightest light. I mean, it's as light as you can go. Okay, I'm looking back and forth. I feel like it could almost use a little more yellow. Getting pretty close there. And this is our kind of mid-tone. And this again, this is too dark. I can see it's too dark. So I've got some of that on my knife, so let's mix it into here. All right, so there's 3 values. And we'll see how that goes. Let's pull you back up. I got about 30 pieces or so ready to inventory, ready to go to the show that I'm doing. All right, got to move you over just a little bit. All right, I'm going to try to stand approximately in the same spot. This is a stretch canvas today, which, you know, they're to me a little bit harder to cover than a smooth panel. Sarah Sedgwick was working on, I think, like a paper. It seemed very slick, and she was working with a very soft brush. I'm working with a bristle because I'm trying to get more paint up there, a long flat. All right, here we go, here we go. Let's do the darkest part first. I'm going to go into a little bit of solvent and into my darkest color. Try to lay it on where we see it. Going to try hard not to overwork my brush work. Some of the inside is even darker than that. And again, I have it on green paper, so I'm planning on doing a green background. And of course, this color is influenced by the green paper. Of course it is. So, all right, now let's look for the things that are a bit, I'm going to try to squint. This back here is not quite as light, understandably, because it's out of the direct light. I actually have a huge collection of all kinds of little pictures. I have considered lining them up and doing a painting before of all of them. I'm feeling like that lightest color that I made still could use a little more yellow as I'm looking at it over there. And I'm going to keep adjusting it around. I'm throwing more yellow in now, a little more white, because I feel like as it comes toward us here, this gets a little lighter and a little more yellow. I actually feel like that should be that color that's a bit more yellow. I'm going to change it a little bit. And even though we made these three values, you can, I'm always saying that, you can always intermix these back and forth. I've got a window open over here, which could be kind of a mistake. Kind of brushing across the handle than doing that. Like with tree trunks and stuff, I think you get more interesting tree trunks if you brush across versus going up and down with them. Hopefully the highlights will help a lot too. Soften that shadow a little bit. All right, let's look for where some of these highlights are. One there, one there. There and there. If you're not a person that leaves a comment normally, I would appreciate it if you did, just to let me know you're out there and enjoying what I'm doing. Sometimes I don't know if there's any point to it, you know. I do it mostly for me, but hopefully there are people enjoying it. Anyway, be nice to hear from you if you do like what I'm doing and you want me to keep doing it. That's too light. I was trying to get a little lighter inside so you could, because I can kind of see some variation in there, but I don't want to get too light. Let me back up. I haven't backed up yet. Okay, I can see that I need to, oh, I'm so sorry, bring this up. You can tell I got some of that mixture, has the yellow in it. I'm feeling like, I'm going to put the mic down for a second. I'm feeling like I'm going to switch out the color of paper in the background. Let me grab something different. I'll tell you why. I bought a whole pack of these colored papers a while back. That's something Sarah did at her workshop. She had, I guess it's construction paper, but you can buy multicolored packs of paper. I'm going to switch out this green because our subject is green. I'm going to switch to a kind of neutral background. Just looking at it, deciding if things feel right. Anyway, if you live in the Cincinnati, Ohio area, the first weekend of December, which I think is like the second and third or third and fourth, I can't remember, I'll be at the Cincinnati Women's Art Club in Marymount, Ohio, which is on Cambridge Avenue at the Showcase of Arts. So it's a nice juried show. They do it every year. It's in 3 rooms downstairs and upstairs. I'll be in the classroom. So, yep, if you're in the area, stop by. Make sure you say hi to me. And again, it's always a really nice show. Just looking around before I move on to the background to see if anything else I think needs to be explained. I can see some dark down there where I can see that base. As you can see, I pulled that up some too, that somewhat darker area to explain the neck a little more. I felt like the neck looked a little large. Gosh, I can't believe how close Thanksgiving is. I'll be cooking, but it may just be 5 or 6 of us. I actually come from a wonderful large family, and we do get together for most of the holidays. Thanksgiving's the only one that sometimes we spread out a little bit, but we're together for Christmas and Easter and sometimes the 4th of July, and you know, sometimes when your parents pass away you don't get together as much, but we've done pretty good. I'm so glad. Well, let's move on and get some of the background in and think about some of that. Let me go ahead while this brush is really big. So the background is just kind of a light neutral kind of color. So we can use, you know, some of this blue we've mixed up. I'm going to take that very blue, it's got some yellow in it already. I'm going to throw some red in it and some white. Just use what you got, and you know, you can pull it toward a neutral color by just adding. Okay, now it looks kind of purpley, so I'm going to add more yellow, which is a complement, and more white. You know, I have to decide, do I want it warmer or do I want it cooler? I feel like I want it warmer. So let's throw more red in, more white. Now we're getting pretty light. Now, of course, we have a shadow. We want to put in the shadow first. And the shadow, you know, could have some of the color of our little picture. And I'm not cleaning my brush, so I'm going to be I'm trying to darken up the shadow color, and I'm actually putting some blue and some crimson, which would be purple if you use a 2 colors. So let's see. I'm going to run that off instead of stopping it right at the edge. I don't like stretch canvases as well. You know, some people really like that flex, but I gotta say I don't like them as well. Okay, now we'll go into this lighter mixture and see how we like the look of it. It leans more toward purple, I'd say, than anything. I still think I want to warm it up a little bit. I put a little more red in it. And we've got this warm background color. Of course, that's gonna peek through. We're gonna make sure that it does. Different, you know, not having something sitting, you know, it's hanging, you know. Usually the base is sitting down and and we may have to come back and, you know, straighten up and explain some things once this is painted in. You know, we may lose things that we want. I'm thinking about, let me know if you think this is a good idea too. When I do this next show, I've never done this, but I ordered a bunch of clear sleeves, and I'm planning to take like a stack of 8x10s unframed, even though I'm taking frame paintings, you know, you have limited space, and I'll have them down in a sleeve. It's an acid-free sleeve, and they can go through those and, you know, buy them cheaper unframed. They'll all be 8x10s, which are, you know, easy size to frame. So, and get a better deal on them than framed. So I haven't done that before, so I'm planning to do that. You know, that way you pick your own frame too, which some people like to do that. And I could even take an empty frame so they can try it out, you know, and see what they look like framed. So, see, we left a lot of the orange. I like that. You don't want to lead your eye out of there, so I'll soften that. Kind of lost that. mix in a little yellow and a little white for the string. I see a little nice warm patch there, which I think I'm going to try to get. We'll mix up some orange, put a little white in it. Let me look at it again. Yeah, it's lighter. If it doesn't work, we'll take it out. But I see it, I think, because of the light. See, it's much darker than it is, so. I don't know if you can see it from where you are, but over here it's and I'm going to go back and cut into it a little bit. I want you to see that edge back there, but wait a minute. just adjusting the drawing wherever I think I need it. I think we're about to call it, seeing if there's anything that bothers me. I don't see that little string thing, but I was kind of suggesting it. I think because it's facing us more than it's turning away. All right. I'll try to move you over a little bit right here so you can get a little more of a view of what I had. See, I'm looking down inside it. Also, wait a minute, I'll grab my mat, which I don't always remember to do. If I can do this with the picture there in the way. We will try. And there it is, kind of cleaned up. All right, thank you for joining me. Please subscribe if you haven't. I love your comments. It's been about 50 minutes, so I'll look at it. You know, they're always, you know how it is. There always seems to be something that's not quite right. Again, I was looking into the neck, so a little more like that. They're never perfect, are they? But then they're paintings, they're not photographs. That's our that's our impression of it. So, I don't want to paint like a photograph. All right. Thanks again, and watch for me next time. Bye-bye.